Just like the way horsehair worms control insects, these new worms began to release neurotransmitters that affect the human brain, reducing the host's ability to make decisions and diminishing their consciousness. Those infected with the worms gradually lose their instincts for survival and, in turn, display strange behaviors dictated by the parasite. Like the zombies from legendary stories, these people are no longer themselves. They are mere puppets controlled by an invisible force. They no longer feel hunger or fear, and no longer have any awareness of their actions, performing bizarre actions according to the parasite's commands. At first, the infection is difficult to detect. Infected individuals may feel tired, experience headaches, or have mild spasms. However, as the horsehair worm completely takes control of the nervous system, the symptoms become more apparent. The infected begin to behave oddly, losing their self-control. They begin to wander aimlessly, seemingly under the influence of an invisible force. One of the most terrifying behaviors is that they start to move toward water sources, seas, rivers, or lakes, where the horsehair worms can fully mature and reproduce. The victims, though not consciously aware of the reason, will throw themselves into the water, regardless of the danger. This has led to horrific disasters. The sight of people lost, wandering, speaking nothing, just heading toward a single destination, the water, produces a chilling sense of dread and fear in those who are still uninfected. They are no longer humans. They are living creatures without a soul, fully controlled by a small parasite. Cities gradually descend into chaos. Large metropolitan areas become silent, while areas around lakes, rivers, or seas witness an influx of infected people, wandering, resembling zombie hordes without purpose. This strange and incomprehensible situation causes panic and fear among those who are still healthy. A society is collapsing, as loved ones transform into mindless corpses who no longer recognize those they once cared for. Meanwhile, scientists and medical experts begin to search for solutions to combat this plague. They discover that the horsehair worms have an incredibly fast ability to invade the human nervous system, making treatment extremely difficult. Traditional methods like antibiotics or anti-parasitic drugs seem ineffective against these worms. New research reveals that a special vaccine could prevent the entry of horsehair worms into the human body, but the production and distribution of this vaccine are monumental challenges. Once infected, the victims turn into zombies, wandering aimlessly toward water. The world is plunged into ruin as major cities fall silent, and small communities live in fear and despair. Governments around the world implement emergency measures, quarantining infected areas, but no one can predict how far this disease will spread. A world where humans no longer control their actions, instead being dominated by a parasitic species, becomes a truly terrifying scenario. It's not just the fear of the disease that dominates, it's the collapse of societal values. Humans no longer treat each other as fellow beings, but as creatures sharing an unstable ecosystem. Cities and nations can no longer protect themselves. Those infected with the horsehair worm become an uncontrollable threat, and the division between normal humans and zombies becomes a horrifying distinction. Gradually, the old world crumbles, and those who remain must find a way to survive in a new world where the line between life and death is no longer clear. Scientists are desperately trying to study, analyze, and respond to this plague. But one question haunts everyone. Can humanity escape the control of the horsehair worm? Or is this the end for a civilization that once prided itself on its remarkable advancement? As darkness spreads, as sudden rains fall, and images of people wandering, mindless, on empty streets become commonplace, a post-apocalyptic world begins to unfold. We are not only facing a terrifying parasitic species, but also questioning whether it is possible to reclaim the fundamental values of humanity in a world where life and death have become so fragile.